Hey friends, welcome and thank you for choosing to listen today. I'm Bonnie. In the time we have together, I'd like to invite you to slow down a little and join me as we step into the history and culture of China and listen to the myths and stories that have been passed down through the centuries. And of course, if there's a topic you're curious about, feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion. I'd love to explore it with you in a future episode. I do not know whether friends around you have had the same experience as I have. This is a question I often had to answer and explain when I first met some foreign friends. Many foreign friends would ask me very directly, "Do Chinese people eat dog meat?" When this question comes up, many Chinese people pause for a few seconds. Not because they do not know how to answer, but because the question itself already assumes a conclusion. Before we formally talk about it, I want to make one very important but often overlooked fact clear. In today's China, a Chinese person with normal thinking does not eat dog meat. In many people's lives, dogs are not ordinary animals. They run to the door the moment you get home from work. They quietly lie beside you when you feel sad or tired. They remind you to go outside at the same time every day, giving life a steady rhythm. For many people, dogs do not need to speak, but they are always responding. This kind of companionship is not a short interaction. It is a long-term relationship. On a social level, dogs also play very important roles. They take part in search and rescue work, finding survivors in earthquakes, floods, and ruins. They assist in police work, helping maintain public safety. They work as guide dogs, helping visually impaired people reconnect with the world. They support people with anxiety, depression, and loneliness in medical and psychological settings. These contributions are not performances. They are real and meaningful social work. But even if we do not talk about these functional roles, the existence of dogs alone is already important enough. Their happiness is simple and direct. Their trust is given without reservation. They can feel satisfied by a meal, a leash, or a simple call. Because of this simplicity, dogs are often seen as one of the animals humans can most easily build emotional connections with. And for this reason, in many cultures, dogs are treated as family members, not as tools or resources. Against this background, when people discuss dogs and culture, the topic often becomes very sensitive, because what is being discussed is not just food, but how people see life, how they understand companionship, and how they define responsibility. That is why, when foreign friends ask this question, it is often not just curiosity, but also an emotional reaction. They ask, "Do Chinese people really eat dog meat?" So the answer is very clear. Chinese people do not eat dog meat. Not only do they not eat it, but in real life, Chinese society's attitude toward dogs is almost the complete opposite of the stereotype many foreigners have. If you live in China now, or if you carefully observe daily life in Chinese cities, you will notice something very obvious. China has an extremely large population of pet dogs. In cities, dogs are no longer functional animals. They are family members and companions, lives that people invest emotion, money, and long-term care into. In large and medium-sized Chinese cities, pet hospitals are everywhere. From basic vaccines and deworming, to complex surgeries, imaging tests, and chronic disease management, the pet medical system is already highly developed. The pet food industry is also very advanced. There is formulated dog food, functional food for digestion, skin, joints, and immune systems, as well as large numbers of pet snacks, nutritional supplements, and behavior training products. The existence of these products proves one simple fact. A society that treats dogs as food cannot build such a complete care system. In addition to this, there are many animal protection organizations formed voluntarily. These groups are made up of ordinary people, with no mandatory obligation and no central command. Volunteers invest their time, money, and energy into rescuing stray animals, providing sterilization, treatment, and adoption services. Even traditional Chinese medicine, which amazes the world, is now also being used as a medical approach for pets. In many cities, stray dogs are not simply removed. They are sent to rescue centers, receive medical treatment, and are then matched with adoptive families. So if we look at reality, saying that Chinese people eat dog meat is a serious misunderstanding of modern Chinese society. By 2023, the total number of pet cats and dogs in China had exceeded 124 million. What does this number mean? It means the scale is already comparable to the population size of neighboring countries such as Japan. The number of pet dogs alone has exceeded 51 million, and it is still growing steadily. These numbers show that pet ownership in Chinese cities has become a very large-scale social phenomenon. International surveys show that more than 90% of pet owners in China see their pets as family members. This level of emotional recognition is extremely high. In 2024, China's pet food sales reached about $82 billion. Ranking second in the world, about 24% of young adults own pets, and pet companionship plays an important role in their daily lives. So the question comes again. If reality is already so clear, why does this question keep coming up? The reason is actually not complicated. Many people are not discussing present-day China. They are using scattered information to build a fixed impression. At the same time, as the largest representative of Asia in global imagery, once any Asian-related image appears in news or social media, it is often subconsciously labeled as Chinese. Over time, when dog meat is mentioned, it becomes automatically associated with Chinese culture. But if you truly widen your perspective, you will find that this idea does not stand up to reality. Even today, there are still some countries and regions where eating dog meat exists in real life. For example, for a long period of time, there was a relatively clear tradition of eating dog meat within Korean society. Even today, this remains a highly controversial issue that has not been fully resolved. In Vietnam, especially in the northern regions and some areas around cities, there was historically a practice of eating dog meat, and it once existed on a certain scale. In a very small number of non-Muslim regions, such as some Botok communities, there was also a historical practice of eating dog meat. But one thing is very clear. Today, there is no developed country in the world that treats eating dog meat as mainstream food culture. In some other parts of the world, under specific historical, economic, or social conditions, there are still cases where dogs are treated as food. This means that eating dog meat has never been something unique to one country or one culture. It is more related to historical stages, poverty gaps, resource distribution, and development levels. So, did China ever have a period in history when dog meat was eaten? The answer is yes, but the background must be clearly explained. In ancient China, especially during early agricultural stages, the primary concern was not ethical choice, but survival. In times of food shortages, limited protein sources, and frequent disasters, the relationship between humans and animals was not built on emotional bonds as it is today. It was an era centered on survival. At that stage, dogs had multiple roles. They'd guarded homes, helped with hunting, and were important production assistants. But under extreme hardship, they could also be seen as one of the usable meat resources. This was not a unique cruelty of any culture, but a realistic choice limited by productivity. The same situation appeared in almost all early civilizations around the world. The difference lies in this. As societies developed, some animals became emotional companions, while others remained food. In China, as agricultural technology improved, pork became the main source of meat. At the same time, urban life developed, ethical views changed, and the social role of dogs shifted. They gradually changed from usable resources to beings meant for companionship and protection. This change did not happen suddenly. It was slow and long-term. By modern times, this transformation became very clear. In today's Chinese society, dogs mainly represent companionship, emotion, and responsibility. So, when someone today still uses, "Do Chinese people eat dog meat?" to define Chinese society, this is a serious logical error. From a historical perspective, eating dog meat is not a characteristic of any single country or culture. It is a staged behavior that appeared in early human societies due to resource shortages. With social progress, almost all regions went through the same change. Dogs shifted from usable animals to companion lives. Using this fact today to define any country is a misunderstanding of both history and reality. It is replacing the whole reality with a very small number of cases. There are indeed many behaviors in the world that most people cannot understand, and there are bad people and bad actions in every country and every corner of society. But these actions can never represent an entire country, an entire people, or an entire culture. If we follow that logic, then no country in the world could be considered civilized. So, when we talk about this question again, what truly needs to be discussed is not whether people eat or do not eat. It is whether we are willing to respect reality. Instead of holding on to prejudice, if someone asks me today, "Do Chinese people eat dog meat?" my answer is very clear. A normal Chinese person who follows the law and has basic moral boundaries does not eat dog meat. Not only that, in modern society, China may already be one of the countries in the world that invests the most resources in dogs, with some of the fastest developing pet medical systems and one of the most visible changes in social acceptance. So, when this question is raised again, it is no longer just a cultural question. It is also a question about how we ask, about respect, and about whether we truly want to understand another society. Bad people exist in every country. Behaviors that are hard to understand exist in every culture. So when we talk about the place of dogs in Chinese society today, we are not talking about an animal species. We are talking about a relationship in which humans are willing to take long-term responsibility for another life. When a society is no longer struggling for survival, when resources are no longer extremely scarce, people naturally begin to rethink the relationship between humans and animals. This is not unique to China. It is a process every society goes through. So when we talk again about eating dog meat, what truly deserves attention is not the actions of a very small number of people, but the choices made by the vast majority. Bad people, extreme behaviors, and incomprehensible actions exist in every country and every society, but they should never be used to define an entire culture. If there's anything you'd like to learn more about when it comes to Chinese culture, history, or mythology, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this show, please consider following the podcast and leaving a 5-star review. Your support truly means a lot to me, and it's the biggest motivation for me to keep creating new episodes. You're also very welcome to visit my blog, where I share Chinese culture-related content and images from time to time. Just search for Bonnie's Podcast Handbook.blogspot.com. Again, that's Bonnie's Podcast Handbook.blogspot.com. You're welcome to leave comments there as well. Thank you so much for listening today. I'll see you in the next episode.